Court Reporter with Stovall and Associates.
Hello and welcome to Court Reporter with Stovall and Associates. I'm Michael Selbeck, your host for today, and I'm here with Sheila Winn, running for Nye County Clerk. So Sheila, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I've been in the state of Nevada for about 25 years. I came originally from Wisconsin, a small community there. I entered Nevada and jumped right into the casino world.
Okay.
Became a cocktail waitress for the first few years, raising my children as the income. I went to school and obtained my associates in paralegal studies.
Oh, wonderful.
And then I was hired by a small law firm in Las Vegas as a receptionist, and ultimately I became their lead paralegal and office manager. I was with them for about 8 years as well. Then I landed with Nye County in 2003 as a deputy clerk recorder in the clerk's office.
Wonderful. And that's kind of interesting. You have a legal background and you're here on Stovall and Associates. So if this doesn't work out, which I'm sure it will, but we're always looking for paralegals.
Definitely interested.
You said kids. How many children do you got?
I have 4 children and 6 grandchildren.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
And local here, most of them? Or?
All of them are still here. They were all raised here and they all work here in the community.
Well, that's awesome.
So,
yeah, that's great.
They're close.
And married?
My oldest and my second daughter are both married with children.
Sure.
And then I have a third daughter that actually works here for the station.
Oh, wonderful.
And my son works for Napa out here.
Wonderful.
So.
And you married?
I am married. I've been married for 21 years.
21 years. Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's good. Me and my wife are coming up on our 10th.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Let's talk about Chief Deputy Clerk for 7 years. What does a Chief Deputy Clerk do?
Essentially, we are the backup for the clerk. Think of it like a vice president and the president. If something were to happen to the president, the vice president's job would be to step in and take over. Well, as the Chief Deputy Clerk, that was my position. In the event that Miss Merlino couldn't be present, I could handle whatever needed to be handled.
Gotcha. So are you actually in the courtrooms then, or are you behind the scenes?
Well, I did a little bit of everything. I was what they called me a working supervisor.
Okay.
I worked in the courtroom. I was a clerk. I did all of the office management, supervisor. I worked elections. I did every duty that there was acquired by the clerk's office.
Okay, and you've been a clerk for 10 years, correct?
Correct. I was a deputy clerk for 10 years.
One thing I'm noticing is you definitely stay with something for a while. That's good.
Yeah.
You were with the law firm, what'd you say, 7 years?
8 years,
8
yes.
years, yep. And then as a clerk for 10.
Yes.
So now we just got through the primaries, right?
Correct.
So now we're down to two candidates, right?
Correct.
So congratulations on making it that far.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
exciting.
you.
You're welcome. How long is the term?
It's a 4-year term.
Okay.
So you do have to come up for every 4 years. So it's actually every 2 years we have elections here in Nye County, but they stagger between the local offices and they stagger between the presidential and the higher offices.
Higher offices, okay. Well, I know you said you managed a lot of the elections. Kind of explain to people the process there. What goes on in an election? Because I know there's so much behind the scenes.
There really is so much. I mean, we could talk about that for days, actually, Michael.
Really?
There is so much in making sure that everyone is appropriately registered, that they have the correct addresses. So we do everything from the beginning, from registering that person to making sure they get through the process of voting and do so with as minimal problems as possible. So essentially, we would be the one we prepare the ballots.
Okay.
We put all the candidates on the ballots. We make sure the sample ballots come out. We make sure that if there is a person that no longer lives in the community or has passed away, it's our job to make sure that we get them out of the rosters. We have to watch, especially in our transient town, we have to watch for the snowbirds, because although they may have an address here, they're not technically residents. so they can't vote for the local positions. They can vote for the president and the federal positions, senator, those kind of things, but not the local position.
The local positions. And what makes them determine whether you're a resident or not?
They have several different things that they use. For a while, they had a dual residence driver's license that gave you two addresses, the address that they lived in, say, back in Wisconsin, and the address that they lived here in locally.
Okay.
And that would allow them to vote because they had a specific amount of time and a physical address here. So the main thing we're looking for is a physical address.
So it's not necessarily how long they live here, it's that physical address. So they could have the physical address here, but be out of the country for 10 months and you still be considered local.
Absolutely, just like college students or anybody that's in the military that has been shipped overseas.
Absolutely, that's a great point, yeah, because our military, this might be their home base, but
absolutely
they're not necessarily here. So they would, now how about those people that are not here during the election time? How do they get their ballots, or can they?
They can. They do an absentee ballot, and we actually have specific ballots for the military.
Really?
And they're mailed out for the military and in a different time manner than your regular absentee ballots. But if you say you were just even in the hospital and you couldn't get to a polling place, you could call the clerk's office and we could send you an absentee ballot request. We would mail it to you wherever you were, whether it was in the hospital or not, and then you just mail it back to the Tonopah office as the county seat. That's where they're returned.
Okay.
And then your ballot is counted and you actually get your vote processed that way.
That's actually really great because, I mean, I have so much respect for our military people out there, and it would just wouldn't be right if they wouldn't have the right to
absolutely
vote who their, elected officials are in their town.
Exactly.
That's kind of neat. I've learned so much already today. I think we're almost out of time here, so I'll probably have to cut you off in the middle. But I know a lot of people's big question is, how do they get the right amount of votes, making sure everybody is accounted for, there was no cheating. How does that all work? That
everything is done with an actual machine, okay? So these machines are standard. They're used across the state, not just in Nye County. They are.
And I'm actually going to cut you right there.
Okay.
I'm told that we're going to have to take a commercial break.
No problem.
I know my audience is going to want to know how that happens. So we'll be right back with Court Reporter here in just a minute.
Court Reporter with Stovall and Associates.